everybody. Thanks for coming to my video. Today I want to talk to you about how you can make your seated yoga poses so much more comfortable and how you can get more benefits out of them. So as you know, there's a lot of seated poses in yoga. I'm sitting in one right now. There's so much that we do with these poses, maybe side bending. There's also cobbler pose with the feet together, the knees out. There's also seated twists. Straddle splits, Janu Sirsasana, hamstring stretch. There's so many different poses that are seated positions. But almost everybody has the problem in a seated position of feeling their low back round. You are not alone if you get into a seated position and you feel like this. The low back is rounded and it's hard to sit up. Especially if your legs are extended like this. For me, I'm in that boat too. So as you can see, my legs are straight, but I'm pushing as hard as I can, and I'm pushing my tailbone back as hard as I can, and this is the best I can get, and this is not a neutral spine for me. So, what do I do? How am I going to get my back feeling better, sitting up straight? How am I going to do that? The answer is so simple. One simple solution. Get a blanket, get a block, get a pillow. Sit up taller. Sit up tall enough that you feel like you're in a neutral pelvis and your low back feels good. All right, so that's the simple answer. You could stop watching this video right now. Done. Sit up taller. But I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about how to know when you're in the right position. So we're going to talk about neutral pelvis. So I know that this is how much cushion I need. And you're going to experiment with that. But when I get up on this amount of height, I feel like I have pretty good freedom in my low back. Could maybe go a little bit higher, but this is pretty good. I feel good. And because I have a neutral pelvis, I can sit up tall. It's easy for me to move. I feel free and easy. That's what you want. Once you're in that neutral pelvis, all the seated poses get easier. But how do you know you're in a neutral pelvis? Like, how do you know how high to make the blankets or the blocks? Well, the simple answer is it just feels better and better. So you could go all the way up till it feels fantastic. Or you could, what I like to do is to tell people, know when you're sitting on your sit bones. So see these bones? I should probably bring that a little closer. But hopefully you can see, those are the bones that you sit on. When you're in a neutral pelvis, it will feel like you're sitting right on top of those bones. It's hard to tell on a really cushy surface like this, so I'm going to demonstrate with this pose. So this one, some people this pose is really uncomfortable for the knees and feet, and I don't recommend it if you have uncomfortable knees or feet, or again, get up higher so that it feels more comfortable. But anyway, I'm sitting on a more firm surface and it's more easier for me to feel my sit bones. So I'm going to just show you, look at my low back. I'm going to push my tailbone back and I'm creating more of an arch in my low back. And I'm sitting right now more on the front of my sit bones. That's not a neutral pelvis. And then I'm going to let my pubic bone come forward, and that's going to round my low back, and I now am in a posterior tilted pelvis, and it feels like I'm sitting more on the fleshy part. But when you're sitting right on the center of those sit bones, that's your neutral spine. So you might want to play around with that. When you're in neutral spine, like I said, all the poses feel easier and better and freer. I think that's all. Oh yeah, one last thing. So, when the pubic bone and these hip bones line up with each other, literally looks like this. They're in the same plane with each other. That's a neutral pelvis. If the pubic bone is in front, that's not neutral. The pubic bone is behind these hip bones, it's not neutral. when they're lined up, that's neutral. So that's a more scientific way. If you really want to know, that's a great way you can feel it by putting your hands here. So that's it. Sit up tall, naturally, with a neutral pelvis in order to enjoy all your seated yoga poses much better. Thanks for coming. See you soon.